Hi. World War II had a significant impact on the Middle East, with the region serving as a crucial theater of operations and a focal point of global geopolitical interests. In this video, I am going to discuss the importance of the Middle East during World War II and some key events. The Middle East occupies a central position between Europe, Asia, and Africa, making it a natural crossroads for the movement of troops, supplies, and resources between these continents, and facilitated communication and coordination between the various theaters of war. The Suez Canal, located in Egypt, was a vital maritime route connecting the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. It allowed ships to bypass the long and treacherous trip around the southern tip of Africa. The Middle East is home to some of the world's most significant oil reserves. Oil was a critical resource for fueling the military and industrial machinery of the Allied forces. Access to Middle Eastern oil fields was essential for the production of petroleum products needed for the war effort. The Axis powers, especially Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy, sought to expand their influence in the Middle East. Gaining control of the region would have given them access to oil resources, a foothold closer to the oil-rich areas, and the ability to disrupt Allied supply lines. This made Britain and the USSR worried, as the control over the Middle East would allow Axis powers to attack British India and the USSR. Several countries in the Middle East and Africa were under British and French colonial rule or mandate systems, and both colonial powers were keen on protecting their interests in the region. This included maintaining control over strategic territories and resources. Let's talk about Syria and Lebanon. At the beginning of World War II, Syria and Lebanon were under the control of Vichy France, a collaborationist government in France that cooperated with Nazi Germany. This made the region initially aligned with the Axis powers. In June 1941, British and Free French forces launched Operation Exporter, also known as the Syria-Lebanon campaign. Free France was a rebellion group that didn't accept the Vichy France regime and wanted to restore France to its former self. The primary objective of the campaign was to remove Vichy French influence from the region. Despite the resistance, the Allies were successful in capturing key cities and areas, and by July 1941, they had effectively liberated both Syria and Lebanon from Vichy control. The Allies maintained a presence in both Syria and Lebanon for the remainder of World War II to ensure stability in the region. Both Syria and Lebanon eventually gained independence from France in the post-war period. Lebanon achieved independence in 1943, while Syria became an independent republic in 1946. Let's talk about Iran now. In 1941, British and Soviet troops invaded Iran. The primary goal of this operation was to secure the country and prevent it from falling into Nazi hands, as Iran was strategically located and had oil resources. Reza Shah Pahlavi, who had ruled Iran since 1925, was seen as pro-German and sympathetic to Nazi Germany. After the invasion, the Allied forces were easily advancing in Iran, so Allied forces pressured Reza Shah, and he abdicated the throne in favor of his son, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, in September 1941. Reza Shah went into exile in South Africa. This led to two treaties: the Iran-Soviet Treaty of Friendship and Non-Aggression, and the Iran-British Treaty. These agreements stipulated that the Allied forces would withdraw from Iran after the war, and that Iran would grant the Soviets access to certain Iranian territories. Iran under Mohammad Reza Pahlavi supported the Allied war effort by allowing the transit of supplies to the Soviet Union through Iranian territory. The Persian Corridor became a vital supply route for the Soviets. However, the Soviet forces remained in after the war, contributing to tensions in the post-war period. Let's talk about North Africa now. Operation Torch was the code name for the Allied invasion of North Africa during World War II. It was a major military operation carried out by the United States, the United Kingdom, and other Allied nations. At the time of the operation's planning, 1942, the Soviet Union was bearing the brunt of the conflict against Nazi Germany in Eastern Europe, and the Allies wanted to provide significant assistance to the Soviets by drawing Axis forces away from the Eastern Front. The operation aimed to capture key territories in North Africa, particularly Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. These areas were controlled by the Vichy French government, which was collaborating with Nazi Germany. By seizing North Africa, the Allies would deny the Axis powers access to important Mediterranean ports and gain control of strategic airfields and supply lines. The operation was not without its challenges and confusion in the early stages, but the determination of the Allied forces prevailed. The Vichy French government eventually saw the changing tides of the war and chose to side with the Allies. This change of allegiance further facilitated the operation's progress. Operation Torch was a success, achieving its objectives of opening a second front, securing North Africa, and setting the stage for future offensives. It was a crucial turning point in the war, demonstrating the growing coordination and effectiveness of the Allied forces. Following this operation, the Allies continued to advance eastward in North Africa, engaging in a series of campaigns and battles against Axis forces. It was the beginning of the end of Axis influence in North Africa and the prelude to further campaigns in the Mediterranean and Southern Europe. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. I know I didn't cover everything on this topic, so I will make part 2 of this video in the future. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There will be more informative videos like this in the future, so stay tuned.